Board games, board games, it's what I'm talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. Today we've got this situation of a new year that is starting, and so I'm gonna do my resolutions for the next year. That, as I've said, it's starting, and I'll hold myself accountable by telling these things to you all. Board games and general life, it's what I'm talking about. Board games and resolutions, I'm not gonna shout. Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. I am Bez, and it is 10 a.m. UK time, which means it's time for Bezzy Beats and Board Game Blether. And I hope that you're all well. And today, I am looking ahead to 2022, and this is part 2 of my yesterday. I talked about hopes and aims and all sorts of things, but today I am talking about resolutions. Hello Jess, it is lovely to see you, and I hope that you are well in the sunny land of Thailand. And if you want to share some of your own resolutions after I've gone through mine, if you want to comment on mine, then of course you are very welcome. There is, Jess says, excuse my typing, that's, there's nothing to excuse, but Jess says, I'm quite busy sunbathing by the pool. I mean, now you're just flaunting it's in our face, like here it's literally freezing, was cycling last night and thinking, oof, this is a bit cold, needs gloves, but yeah, you're just flaunting that in our face. What's that all about, Jess? And hello, Timmy. I hope that you're generally well. And lots of love. So, firstly, let's have the further ado. I'm going to talk about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights, recent highlights. Not all of these highlights are going to be good. I am going to firstly address, if you are really into board games, you will be aware that yesterday there was a bit of uproar about Tabletop Simulator. For those who don't know, Tabletop Simulator is a way of playing games digitally online. People buy this on Steam and then they upload their own games onto it. Sometimes they upload other people's games, and it allows you to play games in a 3D environment with other people far away. The issue is that Tabletop Simulator has what is called a global chat. Everyone can chat there. It's riddled with problems. And this came to a head when Zoe Allred, a trans woman, kind of talked about, hey, these rules are a bit unclear. Am I allowed to talk about being gay and trans? And just for asking those questions, they banned, or I should say temporarily banned, Zoe, which is clearly not okay. Zoe made an alternate account to roleplay a weird cis man and said, hey, I'm totally straight, I'm just going home to my girlfriend, I love women and all this stuff. And then just to see the disparity between how one was treated, how the other was treated. And ultimately, the Tabletop Simulator are claiming that it doesn't show the whole story, that there's more going on, that Zoe Allred was being disruptive, but they don't show the chat messages from that. When people have asked, why was Zoe banned the first time? Obviously, when Zoe came back, Zoe was trying to be deliberately disruptive, but why was Zoe banned the first time? They've just dodged this question in their Discord, and there's been hundreds of messages about this, and it's incredibly problematic, and a lot of publishers have stated, we will no longer be using Tabletop Simulator. And so that is not exactly a highlight, but that is something that's recently happened. So yes, it was Tabletop Simulator who banned Zoe, and for the record, Zoe is spelt with an X, but it's pronounced exactly like that. And yes, that's basically it. Not a good time at all. I will keep you updated on what happens along the way. And obviously, some people said, hey, by saying you can't talk about this stuff, that's not making it a welcoming place. That's saying that his white het male is the default, and also there's all sorts of messages that get left up talking about literal profanity that you wouldn't expect to see anywhere where you're just going to play games. And just says, glad that Tabletop Simulator are receiving what they deserve. It should be open for every human. Agreed. And they claim that the global chat is purely meant for looking for game, but in all the screenshots, about 5% of the messages are a looking for game thing. So frankly, the first step they need to do is apologize and accept that something went wrong, or show chat's records to the contrary, proving that, because they've got all the chat records, but they can't show that Zoe was being disruptive. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm believing Zoe. Zoe also showed screenshots. If you go, I will actually link to, I'm going to link to Zoe's Twitter. Zoe Allred on Twitter did a thing. Tabletop Simulator mods. Oh, why can't I find it right now? Yes. Okay, so if you want to find out more about this and check out the screenshots that Zoe posted, then obviously you can go there. Just says, trans people should be encouraged to talk about who they are if they want to open people's eyes and bring more tolerance. And also non-binary people. I 100% agree. Anyway, let's talk about some more positive, mundane stuff. Jess, sure, like, if you want to talk about your period, it's the same as like you talking about you sleeping a lot yesterday. As far as I'm concerned, like, you can talk about it, but I'm not going to necessarily always engage with it, if you know what I mean, because it might be off topic, but it's all fine. Jess says, I'm mainly just sleepy and menstruating. That's why I'm lying by the pool. Timmy says, I am also cold. It's -12 here. Oof, that is harsh. Let's talk about other recent highlights. What have been some of your recent highlights? What have been some of your positive things? Yesterday was another really good day for me, although I did get exhausted. I went into the park. I had an interview with someone from a podcast called The Rollists, which is a French person, but the podcast's in English. They just named themselves with a French name to allude to the fact that they're French. They're basically about tabletop games. We chatted for a while about board games, about role-playing games, about the nature of the two. And I also got a chance to show off a couple of my own games and to talk about them a tiny bit. The conversation wasn't mainly about me. It was generally a conversation about general board gaming, general role-playing, and it was a really good conversation. I was really impressed with Callum, how they pushed me to say things that I'm not sure I've ever talked about before. And considering I've talked about, like, this is my 507th show, and I've talked a lot about board games and RPGs and games in general, for them to get me talking about things that I've never talked about before, that's quite impressive. So yes, that was a good interview, and that's going to go public in February. So I will lets you all know about that. That was really fun, just going to the park and meeting them in this little cafe and chatting for a few hours. And then I was going to meet my friend ideally at 7 o'clock. My friend lives, according to Google Maps, about 48 minutes away. It took me well over that. It took me an hour and a half to get there. I left late because I was distracted by the Fiore, which I just mentioned, and cycling there, my legs were tired, and I got there and just, it's all uphill. I didn't realize that, so it'd all be uphill. But then coming back, obviously, it was a wee bit easier, and we had a lovely dinner. We played a game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your turnips, and it was just a lovely time with myself and 5 other lovely people. My friend, her family, and my other friend who came here on Friday. It's just been a lovely time. Today I am a wee bit tired, I'm a wee bit run down. I was planning to go outside, but I'm not sure I will. But anyway, despite that, it was a lovely time last night. Jess says, recent highlights, I cycled a bit, later I'll swim. I ate a sugar-free pumpkin pie slice today. I educated myself on the terribly Jeffrey Epstein. But it's very important, and trigger warning. It's cis white men holding power. Rest and cuddle your toy. I'm slightly confused by that, but anyway, that is the recent highlights, and anyone else wants to share any recent highlights, feel free. Otherwise, I'm going to go into brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant? Brilliant things. I'm going to say joints. Like the fact that I can do that. Like my bones have joints, and then there's the ligaments, and then there's the muscles, and then the bones connect kind of like, like there's a snug connection. It's amazing. Like these bones, the way they fit together, and then the skin covering it all so it doesn't bleed out. But then I've always got those ligaments and the joints. I can move things. I can be an active being. I can get up out of my bed. I can walk. I can move my mouth because of these joints, because of like the jaw connected to that. I can go cycling. I can eat. Joints. They're just amazing. Let's hear it for joints. Yes. Jess says joints begin with J, Jess's favourite letter, although Jess is clearly biased. And so, yes, that is a brilliant thing. As always, feel free to comment, ask questions, thumb, like, follow. I'm going to try to focus on my resolutions for a bit. This is probably going to be quite a bit shorter than yesterday, so I might have some time at the end for questionably quick questions if anyone really wants to ask something off topic. And then we will finish. But yes, as always, feel free to share it as well if you want to tell one person about it. Okay, because we've not started, I'm going to say I do not really have a favorite letter. Yeah, if I had to pick one, sure, I might go with B. I actually quite like K. Yeah, K, because you can express it in quite a few different ways. The top bit, it can be a straight line, it can be a loop. The bottom bit can be straight. You can have a wee bit of a flourish. Yeah, I like, aesthetically, I actually really do like a K. But, yep, obviously I see the bias towards your own initials. Anyway, let's crack on and let's talk about what I am. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 resolutions. And what I've tried to do is I've tried to make these what I call SMART. So that's specific. I need to be clear on what I'm doing, not just dance more. It's dance at least 1 hour a week. It has to be timely. There has to be a time element. If there's no time element, it's just do this by the end of the year. Obviously, ideally sooner. It has to be achievable. I'm not going to talk about getting my game published, by another person, because that's outside of my control. I can say I'm going to make a lot of pitches, I'm going to do the work that would hopefully get it published, but sometimes you don't know how things will pan out. So if everyone rejects my game, as long as I've done the work of trying to get stuff published, I'll feel good about myself. It's got to be realistic and smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Yeah, achievable and realistic are basically the same thing. And then timely, yeah. Anyway, so that's what I've tried to do with all of these things. Yeah, not just eat aubergines, but eat one aubergine every day. Obviously, this is not something that I'm doing it. But yes. Some of these are going to be to do with, I would say there's some stuff to do with games, there's a little bit of stuff to do with other creative endeavors, and there's a little bit of one to do with decluttering, and there's a few to do with personal hygiene and pleasure, and yeah. I'm actually going to add one right now, to cook 2 times a week. But, yep. Anyway, let me just go through the list. Firstly, I am going to manufacture and ship Categoric L. This is one that's been really problematic for me. There have been issues with communicating with the manufacturer, but what I can do is I can talk to Vanguard, I can talk to other people, and no matter what, I will manufacture it in some way. If I can't get it in the box that I really want, I will do it in some way as well as I can by the end of the year. And I know this is a bit more vague than I would ideally like, because what does manufacture mean? And it's a bit more, it's the least achievable, it's the most challenging out of everything on my list. But this is honestly a really big priority for me. I would love to run a Kickstarter for Couple. Miles has been doing amazing artwork for this, and it would be great to be able to share that with the world. There's a little asterisk, because this is a bit of a wish list. I think 1, 2 or 3 of them have little asterisks, and if I don't manage to achieve it, then I'm going to forgive myself. I'm going to sort out an account on itch.io and put my print and play stuff on there. I'm exploring Chris and I making a joint business account, and Chris being the one who makes the account. But it might also be that I end up doing it myself. We'll work out what's the easiest way, but this feels achievable. I mean, ultimately, I think this is going to tie into my whole business model, getting things on there, making it £1, and then you'll get it early, and then seeing if people like it, and going to the Kickstarter. On the Kickstarter, it's £1 if you buy it, or like £5 if you want a physical copy, and then after the Kickstarter, the price increases like to £2.50, because right now I am selling print and play stuff, but it's set up so that I need to send emails to everyone, and that's just time consuming. That's not great. And I want to produce at least 4 new Bezzy bargain bags. And for this purpose, anything that a game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your beetroots is going to count as a new one. But I'm going to count like each Kickstarter or each new production as a separate thing. And I think that this is achievable. It's one every 3 months. I've got way more than 4 ideas that are almost ready to go to print. And it is very much a case of getting the marketing ready, working with Dina, working out a schedule. This seems achievable. And this is going to help me with my next resolution, which is to make 20 pitches. So I'm going to, if I meet one company and then I talk to them about 3 different games, that will count as 3 pitches. If I talk to another if I talk to 5 companies about 4 different games, that's already 20. This is going to be definitely a challenge. I mean, 20 is quite a lot. And maybe I should say, like, maybe I should have set the targets a little bit lower. I don't know. But I feel like just last time when I went to Cannes, like in 2020, which wasn't a good year. I know that I did at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I did 8 pitches in 2020 in the first 2 months, and then I did 0 in the remaining 10 months. So it feels achievable. It feels like if people actually are going to UK Games Expo, if I'm going to Essenspiel and not actually exhibiting, which is my plan, then I should be able, by October, to have a whole bunch of games, by UK Games Expo to arrange meetings with some really big companies to say, hey, I want to show you stuff. Like, obviously, Gigamic's going to agree to see me because Yogi continues to sell well and I can pitch them a whole bunch of games. And this is both reliant on me making the games or making the prototypes and also on me reaching out to those companies. And I want to each of these 20 follow it on to its natural conclusion. So maybe that ends up in a rejection. Maybe that ends up in them publishing it. But if it ends up in them saying, oh, we are interested in this, then I'm going to continue chasing them every couple of months to make sure that it doesn't just fall off their radar. That is a big thing. I talked yesterday about these, but again, sorry, just to reiterate, I want to write a book of LDEC games and run a Kickstarter for it. What is a book? Frankly, anything that is perfect bound. So it could be 48 pages or more. 48 pages is the minimum. It's going to be some number of LDEC games in there. I don't know how many. It's going to be the ones that I think are the best. It's also going to be some words about the LDEC, introducing people to it. It's going to be like a little companion piece. The idea is that you buy the LDEC, you enjoy it, but it only has instructions for 1 game. But then you buy this book and it's got instructions for like 10 more games, and then you read it. And then I think it would be a really nice thing to have alongside other things to go to conventions, maybe starting with Dragon Meet in December if I get it out in time. But as long as I run a Kickstarter for it, even if that's in December, and then I deliver in February, that's also okay. I'm going to write a first draft of a book about design. Again, I think that there's a book that I want to write about games and about game design and about making creative stuff, because I think that in creativity, it's about knowing why you're doing it, and there's a lot of introspection going on. And so that's definitely something that I want to do, but I'm aware that it's a bit off-putting, it's a bit challenging, it feels like this big project, and also that's not something that I see as making me money directly. That's something that, sure, it might lead to more opportunities, because once you make a book, then people do start respecting you a wee bit more, but that's just making a first draft is enough of a resolution for me. And then once I've done my first draft, I'll, find an editor, maybe a proofreader, and carry on with it. Then we get to the personal stuff, nothing to do with games. I am going to open all my boxes, the boxes that have my stock in them, that I know this is completely full of the books that are like the Dice and Ink books, or this is full of 24 copies of Kitty Cataclysm because I've still got some personal copies. I'm not going to open that. I'm not going to go and open all the boxes of Yogi that I have, because I've got like 8 boxes. Each of those contains 6 games of Yogi. But anyway, my point is, all the boxes that I came here from my old place, open them all up, look at each item, think what to do with it, read the magazines, maybe throw away some of the magazines, keep some of the magazines. Some of the stuff like Toy World, I don't really need those. I mean, they're not so amazing that I feel the need to keep them. I might keep like one page from each magazine, but I'm getting rid of 99% of it. And the games, like some of them I'll keep, of course. I love board games, but some of them I will get rid of, and that's going to be a journey, and we will go through it together. And I'm glad that you're excited for this section, Jess. I've been thinking about my hygiene, my happiness, what makes me happy, and this is not about exercise. This is about what makes me happy, and so I'm going to say dance. I'll say or yoga slash class-based exercise. And so it's, let me actually change that slightly while we're talking, because either way, these are things that make me happier than just walking around. Sure, I love walking around, but the people around me, dancing with people, if I just end up dancing for an hour or in my room, then so be it, if that's the best that I can do. But if I can go to another yoga class or class-based exercise, then I'm going to give that up. But something where it's, maybe it should be specific to dance, because I've got to exercise later on. I'll tell you specifically what my other resolutions are. So firstly, oops, I'm just kind of copy-pasting these. Walk around the block before tech when I awake. So before I look at the internet, walk around the block. So I might go back to sleep. I might decide, oh, I can't, like today I had my alarm set for 7:30 and it was a nice sky, but I was so fatigued. And then I set my alarm again for like 8:55, walked around the block. When I got up, it took me a bit of time to get out. I'm so glad that it was just minimal effort, literally just round the block. But having that tiny bit around the block, that is enough to get the day started, to feel like I achieved something, if you know what I mean. And that's not for the exercise, that's just kind of to get my day started well. I want to do another 30 or more minutes of exercise in the afternoon/evening every day. Now, this might be walking along the canals, it might be going to a class. I expect it to be more than 30 minutes, but again, I want to keep relatively low. If I'm cycling, then, you know, I'm not going to go for a walk, but generally I'm going to aim for walking around the park because I enjoy that. But if at some point I decide I don't enjoy that, maybe I'll walk along the canal or walk along the street or do some, do some leg exercises in my room, like do whatever. The point is like whatever I feel like I'll enjoy. And so, yeah, actually I'm going to bring, I feel like the dance and yoga is basically just for the pleasure. So then we've got my teeth. I am going to brush my teeth 2 times a day. That's quite a bit, but again, I do have a forgiveness thing built in. But I think that I was tempted to go for 3 times a day, but 2 times a day, like that's good and achievable. Jess says, is walking around the block in pajamas allowed? Yes, absolutely. And that's what I generally do. I get up, I just have a pair of shoes that I slip on without even having gone socks. I just go around. I don't put on anything and then I just come back. Yes, again, it's about exercise, but it's also about personal enjoyment. So yes, it does feel good, especially when we're working from home. 100% agreed. And even on a Friday when I'm about to 9 a.m., go outside. Why not have that quick walk around the block, keep it up? Just can't do it in the pajamas. Why not? I mean, is it just because of it's not socially acceptable? Well, it's not really socially acceptable here, but I don't care. Anyway, so talks about brushing the teeth. And the other thing that I'm going to do 2 times, but 2 times a week, is I'm going to cook. By cook, I mean multiple, like at least one raw ingredient, vegetables or potentially meat, but then mixed together. And so this might be slightly kind of, yeah, maybe I should, like, if I do tuna mayo mixed with herbs and spices, there's no heat applied. So technically that's not cooking, but does it fit the principle? Maybe. Basically, what I'm trying to do here, the reason for this, the reason that I'm doing this is because I enjoy cooking, because there's a satisfaction. If I just put pizza in the oven, or if I just put battered fish or chips or potato waffles or whatever in the oven, then sure, that feels okay. And like an egg, okay, that's a thing. But I think it has to be, yeah, actually, the notion of what is cooking is a vague one, and I would welcome your inputs. Like, if I mix tuna and cucumber and mayonnaise and stuff, like, maybe it's about having new recipes. I think that's what 2 new recipes a week. Yeah, I think that is what would actually bring me the pleasure. Cooking 2 times new recipes. Yes, and that's like major ingredients. That's not just different spices, but trying things, just saying, okay, I'm going to make a stir fry, but this time I'm not putting mushrooms in it. Okay, I'm going to make a stir fry, but this time I'm putting an aubergine in it as well. Okay, I'm like, just substituting one veg for another does make it a new recipe for the purposes of this, but then that gets rid of frying an egg. That's not cooking to my mind. Putting something in the oven, like, and pre-prepared foods, like, no, oven food is out, tin food is out. It's, did I, and so, like, yes, actually, you know what? If I mix together, and I'm going to change the word cook to prepare, because if I make tuna mayo and there's a pepper going in there, then I don't know what that tastes like, and I have the joy, the excitement of finding it out. And that's what this is meant to be for. This is meant to be for me having the satisfaction of having done something, the excitement of tasting something new, but also the healthiness of, I know everything that's going on in there. Like, no, sure, I might use Worcester sauce or something that's got a few multiple ingredients, but it's fundamentally from raw ingredients, if you know what I mean. And that is what I'm all about. Alex says, I like the idea of cooking new recipes, but I'm rarely organized to have the right ingredients. And hello, Alex, it is lovely to see you. Thank you for joining in. And Alex says, and yeah, this goes back to, I can just substitute things. That's okay. Let me catch up with the things. So just blocking someone on YouTube. I've had to block like 3 people on YouTube so far today. Yeah, I'm not. But yes, meal preparation. I like that thing, which is why I ended up with prepared 2 new recipes a day. In Thailand, Jess says, talking about going ground in your pajamas, you don't want your local community to think you're crazy. It could lead to other problems. What problems? I mean, here, I think that I'm going to be harshly judged by some people, but I kind of prefer that. I would rather those people who are going to judge me harshly for walking around in pajamas in the morning to just not be part of my life. I don't need those kinds of judgmental people in my life. Egg and oven chips with peas. See, that wouldn't be cooking, but if I were to cook the peas and then I were to put the peas in, mix the peas with a pepper, because I've put in multiple bulky ingredients that I've not done before. I've never had peas mixed with pepper. I don't know what that would taste like. What would pepper taste like if you steam it? I do not know. And so, yes, yeah, like it can just be things that I've already got. Tuna crunch is nice. Tuna mayo with chopped red peppers and red onions. Jess says, I have a slow cooker. When I used it, it was a disaster. I thought it would be magic pots and anything in it would automatically taste good. No, you have to be judicious. Alex says, what if you cut your own chips and minted and crushed your peas? I mean, look, if you cut your own chips, obviously that's different. If I make the chips from scratch, if I cut, then that's obviously different. And just talking about problems of walking around in pajamas says, being blamed for things or people making excuses to do bad things to you that as a foreigner you can't control because you don't have the same rights. Ooh, yeah, I can understand that. So, example, my building manager is threatening to destroy my bike. That is horrible. I'm so sorry to hear that. But anyway, that's my penultimate resolution. And the final thing that I put in here, which relates to my previous few, is forgiveness. I'm going to aim for at least 50% success. So if I don't walk out one day, I am going to make sure that I walk out the next morning. If I have obviously 1 week where I'm just like really sick and I can't do stuff, I'll just make sure that I do it the next entire week. If I'm like not dancing 1 week, then so be it. And like brushing my teeth, like if I skip one day, then in the morning, I'm going to make sure that I do in the evening, like I've brushed my teeth this morning. But it's just a way of, yes, we stumble, we fall, we mess up sometimes, but it's about getting up again and continuing. Oh my gosh, I just realized that I still have the wrong banner up. So yes, those are all my resolutions. And if you've got any comments, if you've got any other suggestions, then let me know. I did have other things that I was thinking of adding in. I was thinking about, oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to put in something right now. No, this might be no added sugar. Yeah, this is a big deal. And so this is going to be the most challenging thing to do every other day. But yes, no added sugar. I only feel even ready to approach this because of the every other day. So I still could have a treat if I've not had a treat before, or I could have Worcester sauce or a nice cereal if I've not had one the day before. But generally, you know, there are cereal substitutes. Make me more aware of what I'm eating. Yes, the shredded wheat, the kind of stuff that's, you know, 0% added sugar. So there we go. No added sugar. That is there. Alex suggests a book, Atomic Habits. I have not read it. Could you summarize it for me? Jess talks about anti-foreigner sentiments in Thailand, and Jess wouldn't want to add to it because, in theory, if you're somewhere, then you're kind of representing yourself. I mean, that's one thing about Glasgow. When I was in Glasgow, whatever I did, it's kind of representing a lot of non-white people, and it felt weird in that way. But like in London, there's enough non-white people that it can be, oh, that person's a bit weird. It's not that all coloured folk are weird. It's just that that person's a bit weird, which I'm okay with. But I don't want to feel like I'm a representative for any part of my identity. If I lived in a more working class neighborhood in Thailand, then I would go out in my pajamas. but Jess unfortunately lives in the financial district. And yeah, so the other things that I was thinking about was like having time away from the computer, reading a minimum of stuff, Mondays as a day off. But reading is going to happen through opening my boxes because I need to read those things to, not do that. I've been thinking about Mondays as a day off. That's something that I do anyway. And that's, it's doesn't feel like I need to make a resolution for it. I was thinking about, something to do with playing games, like if I wanted to record them somewhere or say that I have to rate every game that I play this year. That seems like a lot of... But again, if I say, okay, I've not rated games for that one day, I'll do it through. Maybe that is a reasonable thing because that's something that I'm interested in anyway, to have a ponder about things that I've played. And I want to get over my... Some people say, oh, designers shouldn't rate their own games. At what point does it end? Does that mean that I shouldn't rate Chocolate Factory because I developed it? Probably, according to those people. Does it mean that I shouldn't rate Dice Hospital because I helped pick the colors of the dice? According to those people, probably. Does it mean that I can't rate Misty because I play tested it and I made suggestions that made it into the final thing? Does it mean that I can't rate any game that I play test? Does it mean that I can't rate any game that I review and that I've got some connection with the designer? Because at a certain point, I've got a connection. It's like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You can probably draw a line from me. I worked with Matthew Dunstan, who worked with Brett. Actually, I worked directly with Brett Gilbert, so I don't know why. Who works with Phil Walker Harding, who works with this other person, who works with Reiner Knizia. Therefore, I can't rate any of Reiner Knizia's games, and that's just ridiculous. But yeah, maybe. What do you think? Should I add that as a resolution? Yes or no? Should I add a resolution of rating all the games that I play? Because that does seem achievable. So talking about, going back to the book, Atomic Habits, Alex is trying to break it down. And the idea is that, talking about breaking down books and summarizing them, break down habits into their smallest, easiest elements to make them more likely to stick. So this is about habits as opposed to my big projects. So yes, that makes sense. And structure your environment to prompt things. Yes, I like it. I am getting rid of sugar-added snacks. I've got like my chocolates that I can have because it's 100% cocoa, no added sugar, no added anything else. It's just literally cocoa mass, and I do enjoy it. So I'm actually running out of the bar, but I eat it very slowly because it's so satisfying. And if you want to eat better, put a bowl of fruit on your table or at your desk. The more you see the fruit, the easier it is to choose to eat it. Yeah, great idea. For me, I don't care about eating more healthy things. I care about cutting out the unhealthy things, which is sometimes that's as simple as going into the shop and feeling, you know what, that ice cream looks really good. That looks really good. Like I went to Lidl on Friday and all the bakery smelled amazing. And I was like, oh, I want those chocolate brownies. Let's pause. These chocolate brownies will be here another time. And I'm going to try to avoid having these things unless I come in specifically for them. Maybe today I will cycle over to Sainsbury's. Maybe today I will say, you know what? I will see what they have reduced. And even if it has sugar, I'm going to have it. I'm going to enjoy some sugary things today. But instead, what I did on Friday was I just smelt it. I enjoyed the smell and savoring the smell as something in itself, because it's a weird human thing. We smell it and then we need to consume it. What's that all about? Maybe we just smell it and appreciate it as something nice in its own regard. Anyway, Jess is doing 75 hard, the exercise of doing exercise and drinking water. Waist and hips have reappeared and I feel motivated. Congratulations. Jess is baking apples and bananas tonight. Jess says, put your toothbrush and toothpaste by your bed. And for me, I'm putting them by the mirror in the bathroom where I'm able to use them. That's easier for me. But yes, I will have these things very accessible. Go to the shop and shout at the ice cream and biscuits and remind them and you that they're not healthy. That feels like a step too far, even for me. Even though I go outside in my pajamas, that feels like a bit antisocial. I mean, I feel like I'm going to be annoying all the people if I end up doing that. But yeah, that I will think about that and how I can apply that. That's a good point about having things in your. Put a spare toothbrush by your bed in case you forget. That's just to remind you, I can see the value in that. Like maybe on the windowsill, like just so I see it as toothbrush by the bed. Yep, I like it. So yeah, that is all my things, and I really appreciate. Oh, hello, Bevan. It is lovely to see you, and friend of the show, Bevan Clatsworthy. And if you ever want to come on, just look and check when I've not got other guests on. Bevan, who designed part of the Tinkerbots long ago, designed Ghost Tell, but is continuing to work on games, and it is lovely to see you. But I hope that you're having a good day and all the best for your new year. Now, firstly, I am just wrapping up, and before I do so, I always like to ask, over to you, what are you up to? You can share, but only if you want to. What would you like to share? I promise you that I care. Whether it's hopes, ambitions, something you need to do, or whether it's joys and happiness, something that you want to do, whether it's fun and frivolous, or whether it's super serious. Let me know if you want to, and again, it's entirely up to you. So, I'm going to take half an hour to decide whether I'm going to go to the gaming day or not. There is a gaming day going on at the Salisbury, but I feel like I'm just short on sleep. I'm just a wee bit exhausted from all the cycling and maybe lacking in sleep. Even though I might appear very energetic and I am definitely excited, I'm happy to be here in front of you, chatting to you, but I am feeling a wee bit run down. And, I have just recovered from COVID, a couple of weeks ago. So, and it's still taken it out of me. And obviously I wasn't cycling at all when I had COVID. So I've got to build up my muscles up again. I think it's likely that I'll spend half an hour, maybe on Board Game Arena, maybe playing some mobile games. Then I'll see how I feel, tell the folks either, yes, I'm coming, or no, I'm not coming. And then if I'm not going, I'll probably just lie in bed, maybe open one of these boxes, maybe read some comics. See what happens. Alex has decided to submit at least one game to the Cardboard Edison Awards. That sounds like a good resolution. That sounds very achievable. So today, Alex is deciding which game to submit and also taking the kids out for a windy walk. That sounds lovely. Jess is comparing the size of the building with the size of the tallest one in Thailand. And Jess is sending me a photo. Bevan, for 2022, I'm trying to get more out there in terms of in-person playtesting. 2021 was my year to get fit, so maybe increase that as well. Those sounds like good goals. And you've got a bit of time. I would suggest giving yourself maybe until the end of the year, the month, put a deadline on yourself to make some resolutions, write it down, maybe tell other people, then you're more likely to do it. One of my siblings actually sent me and I assume my other siblings a text message saying, hey, these are my resolutions, just to keep me accountable. And that's what I'm going to do with these. I've told you, like, now it's publicly available, and I'm also going to share with my siblings in writing, so it's clear and easy to check. And yeah, hopefully that will keep me accountable. So that's what we're up to. Now to recap and wrap up before I finish up. So let me go over all my resolutions once more. My hopes, my projects over 2020, which might take me the whole year. I'm going to manufacture and ship Categorical. This is the big one. This is the thing that's really been the pain. Asterisk means it's a wish list item. Run a Kickstarter for couple. Miles has done a brilliant thing. Make an itch.io account so that people can buy my print and play stuff and then get it automatically. I love what you can do on itch.io. You can have community copies. You can have different pricing models. You can say to everyone who backs your Kickstarter, here, you get a code to go in here for free and get a free copy. And then any time that you make a tweak or a change, it will email everyone to say, hey, there was a tweak made. So if I did it for a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes noises, that means that I could charge like £2.50 and you get access to everything forever. And then each time I put in more creatures, you'll see, oh, Bez puts in more creatures, which would be, yeah, alternatively, at a certain point, I could say, okay, that's enough new creatures and the rest of them are going to be under a separate paywall. I don't know, or it could go on until there's like, I'll see how I feel and like what works. But yeah, I think that having an itch.io account, and I'm going to work with Chris to, anyway, produce at least 4 new Bezzy bargain bags. This feels very achievable. This might be things that I only make 100 copies of, and 100 feels like the new 50, because 50 copies sold out in one day at UK Games Expo. And then I was like, oh, should I do for a game about quickly grabbing creatures that's also different and watching out for turnips? Should I do 50? Should I do 100? The thing that made me do 100 was that some people have to buy 2. And people did buy multiple, and it was sold out after Dragon Meat and going up to Christmas. I told people in the Big Talk Facebook group, hey, and then it sold out. And so I feel like when I get to a game about drawing creatures, complementing the drawings and then complementing the complements, that again is a very experimental game. Are people going to be up for playing something that's about that? But yeah, I'm going to experiment. I'm going to make at least 20 pitches, make the games, make the prototypes, arrange things with the companies. 20 feels achievable. Write a book of Aldec games, run a Kickstarter for it. Write a first draft of a book about design. Open all my boxes that are here, except for the boxes that I've literally never opened, by which I mean there's one box at least that has dice and ink. Like, I know there's about 48 copies of a book in there, but, you know, until I actually want to sell those copies and I've run out of the other boxes, I'm not going to open that one. But for the boxes that I moved in with, open them, be like, okay, yes, this is what it is, and think about each item separately. I will, oh no, wait, let me get rid of that. I will walk before technology when I wake. I will walk before looking at the internet. Do another 30 minutes or more of exercise each afternoon/evening. Brush my teeth 2 times a day. Prepare 2 new recipes each week. And dance or a yoga class-based exercise 1 hour each week, because these are things that I enjoy. Forgiveness. I don't need to be actually, that should go below there. No added sugar. So this is going to be really challenging, but I only have to do it at least every other day. So aim for at least 50% success. And those are all my personal resolutions. And so, yes, Thank you, Bevan, for applauding the self-care. I do appreciate it. Jess is swimming at the building. That's not hers. Jess's stupid building manager has probably drunk all the water. My building is 37 years old. 100 is the new 50. Sounds like a very optimistic birthday message. I like that. And Bevan says, it sounds like a busy 2022. Yes, I am hoping that by the end of it, I'll have like 4, 5, 6 new things, and people will be like, wow, Bez made quite a few new things in 2022, and Bez is experimenting, and hopefully Bez will be known as a person who's not only making games, but making good games. But what am I going to do in February? This is me giving you the squint eye. This is me thinking, Alex. Anyway. So, thank you very much. I've done my recap. If you want to check me out, I obviously stuffbybez.com is my main website. Stuffbybez.bigcartel.com is where you can buy stuff. Twitter.com/stuffabez for tweets, and Instagram.com/stuffabez, occasional pictures. Twitch.tv/stuffabez is the best place to watch my live shows where the most chats is. YouTube.com/stuffabez for the old episodes. Stuffabez.com/Discord if you want to chat about other things or chat about game design or anything. Stuffbybez.com/streams will tell you what's coming up. Tomorrow I'm chatting to Rob and David, I hope. And then the day after with Ben Parkinson, who's doing social good in Uganda. And then Wednesday, I think I'm going to open up a game, officially launch into my predictions for 2022. So just to give you a very quick preview, the game works like this. I'm going to make a new Discord channel. Everyone gets to make up to 5 resolutions. You get a point for each resolution that came true, plus 2 points for each person who thought it. You get 2 points for the resolution that comes true for the prediction. I'm sorry. I'm clearly not in a fit state to go off and play games. My mind is everywhere. 2 points for a prediction that comes true, and 1 point for everyone who didn't believe you. So underneath each prediction, which you'll do in separate posts, there will be a little thumbs up or thumbs down so everyone can predict, will it happen or will it not happen? And then you'll predict other people's predictions. So if you guess correctly whether it will happen or not, you get a point. And if you thought it wouldn't happen, but it does end up happening, then you give the other person a point. But if you think that it will happen, then you're just kind of saying, yeah, I agree with them, and I'm going to get a point as well. So in a way, what you want to do is like, you could argue that you want to do things that you have some inside influence over, although that kind of feels against the spirit. I don't want to say Bez will make exactly 7 Bezzy bargain bags and then wait until the end of, and then wait until the number of things to work out which ones. That's not but yeah, I thought it would be an interesting game to play in the Discord. Share, spread the word if you enjoyed this. If you think that these 10 a.m. streams are something worth other people checking out, then feel free, please do let someone else know. Thank you for being here. I do very much appreciate it. And Bez, I would love to help you achieve your goals in any way I can, especially if that means trolling you on stream, says Alex. I appreciate that. Every day would be a bit much, but sure, if you want to check in on me once a week, then go for it. Resolution 1, make 5 predictions. My son Theo says, hello, Bez. Hello, Theo. Thanks, Alex. And so, for now, I'm just going to say bye-bye to everyone. If you're watching on Twitch, then if you are watching on Twitch, then I'm going to actually, I won't. Will I bother with a quick raid? Let me not. I don't have. I'm just going to say bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye bye. Bye bye. This is the end of the show. Bye bye. Bye bye. And now it's time to go. Bye bye. Bye bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye bye. Bye bye. This is the end of the show. Bye bye. Bye bye. And now it's time to go. I do not understand this reference. 67 tasks. It was not 67 tasks. But in any case, lots of love. And oh my gosh, I just realized that I didn't think about, any of the LDEC stuff or, the competitions and the special stuff because it is the 5th anniversary of LDEC. But anyway, lots of love. Bye-bye. Bye, Dina. You're just in time to, yeah. Bye-bye.